Greetings and welcome once again to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. So in a previous video, which has already garnered 1,200 views and over that, I've had quite a response, and there seems to be a lot of confusion about, for example, how these formulas work. And some of the confusion is shown here in this comment. Now, I don't know whether this person is really a troll or is really trying to find out. I tend to think he's a troll because I think I've explained it correctly and he still doesn't get it. So he says things like, add a third of a right angle to a third of a right angle. In your system, you do not get 2/3 of a right angle. Well, actually you do. The thing is, in my formulas, you're using right angles. That's why I call them radical unit angles. In Newton's approach, you're using radians or degrees. Okay, that's different. So let's see what the difference is. So if you take a third of a circle, that's about pi over 6 radians. Not about, it is pi over 6 radians, right? But it's not the same as a third on this diagonal. Okay, that's a third on the diagonal. That length there. Okay, that's a third. Its value, if we give it a label, its value is 4 and it's 0.4714. And if we add more decimals, let's add 10. Okay. And this one here is 2/3. Let's give it a value as well. Okay. So if we do that, that's a third of an angle, of a right angle. Okay. Not of an angle, not of a right angle which corresponds to pi over 2 radians, but of a right angle which corresponds to square root 2. 2/3 would be this guy here, okay? 2/3. And naturally, add another third and you'd have a right angle. So people get confused when they see new things or things that they've never understood before. You can't just do things the same way as you did them in Newton's very complex approach with sine series and all that. These are all closed form formulas. Newton was not nearly as smart as I am. Neither were any of the effing morons who came after him and before me. I am the smartest guy alive today. How do I know? Because it takes genius to understand these things. Again, I repeat that. The majority of mainstream mathematics academia are stupid and arrogant buffoons. That would be a lot of you who are watching this video. And to you, I kindly ask you to fuck off because you're stupid and stupid cannot be fixed. But to those who are interested, pay attention to what I'm telling you. There was also another comment here that I found quite telling. So let's just go to it. So there's this guy, Ashton Steed. He seems to be genuine. I don't know. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And he says, interesting, I don't entirely agree. He's entitled to his opinion, but he's wrong because if you disagree with me, naturally you are wrong because I'm smarter than you. But I'd be interested in seeing the proof of certain differential equation work without the use of Euler's identity. So, and then he says, I think this is especially true of periodic differential equations such as the motion of a pendulum. With Euler's identity, the solution can easily be decomposed as a shifted sine wave, etc. So we all know how to do that, by the way. And he says, here's the key phrase: the same equations show up all over physics and have been observed constantly. That claim there is totally false. And here's my response. Do you even realize that the trigonometric formula, which have been realized, had they been realized my way, you would have completely different notions about frequency, for example. Because in my approach, all you do is you work with right angles, okay? It's a totally different approach. And the fact that Euler's theory is based on ill-formed concepts is one that should be taken into careful consideration because eventually a theory can become so complex that it collapses under the weight of its numerous rules that are meant to buttress the same. Mathematics shouldn't have rules. And humans, in fact, have made these nonsensical theories such as Euler's and the rest match the physics. You see, you can cast your philosophy onto just about everything you see around you. You can make it match. It doesn't mean that it does match because, for example, if there are aliens on other planets, they're not going to do things the same way necessarily unless they're well formed and they are thinking in the proper way. And what's thinking in the proper way? The way I think. Okay, so Euler was also the idiot who gave you 0.333 dot 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 is equal to a third when a third has no measure in base 10. And yes, I know that some mathematicians, not mathematicians, mathematicians of the mainstream claim that that's a limit. Well, the only problem is that even though they're all threes, they're first of all, they're not all there. And the second thing is that you can't give me a representation for pi or square root 2 and say they're all this or that because it's constantly changing. So it's never all there. Therefore, it's never a representation of pi or e. Okay, you don't think about these things because you're not as smart as I am. You're a lot dumber than I am. So these things don't even cross your mind, even the brightest of you. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to enlighten you. And going back to this diagram, a third and a fourth and everything on the radical unit angle formulas is not the same as what you get in circular theory. And the idea is to move away from working with degrees or radians, okay? Now, somebody asked me, is there a formula that can convert radians to degrees? There is. And I'm not sharing it with you. You know why? Because I don't think you're worth it. But I'll give you a clue. For any angle in radians, the arc is equal to the angle if the radius is 1. So that's your first clue. I'll even give you a second clue. You can take a chord of this arc, and your next step after knowing these facts is to find the length of that chord, and then you can naturally, all these angles. All these angles are known, and you have that length. So there is a way to find the radical angle unit and also the parameter without any trigonometry. So there's no circularity. And you can try doing it with ChatGPT. ChatGPT can't do it, neither can Bard, because I've tried them. They have no clue how to do it. And to some little bastard Indian, Srinavan, who put a comment that was in the hidden section, you little curry muncher, let me tell you something. Don't you dare call me an arrogant buffoon, you little moron. You live in a third world country. You live in a country where most of you are abused by wealthy people. You're a scumbag. Don't you dare tell me that I'm an arrogant buffoon and that I have GPT. GPT can't do these things, you fucking idiot. Listen, if you post a comment that pisses me off, you get banned automatically. You don't get to comment here again. I kick your curry muncher ass from here to the moon. Do you hear that? And yes, that is a racial slur. Fuck the lot of you morons. If you're not already a subscriber, become one, okay? And gee, I shouldn't get worked up because sometimes I do. People are so stupid. Follow me on academia.edu. Tell your friends about this. Tell your ignorantly stupid mathematics lecturers and your teachers about these things because they need to learn. They need to think the right way, okay? And so do you. If you click like, and if you're not already a subscriber, become one. I'm John Gabriel. Till next time, goodbye.